So my husband just destroyed 4 years of my life, and I found out 3 days ago when we were supposed to be putting an offer on our dream house. The account balance was $12. 12, not 12,000, not a typo. 12 actual dollars sitting in what was supposed to be our joint savings account that I'd been dumping 60% of every single paycheck into for 4 years. Owen and I have been together for 6 years, married for 4. We live in Pittsburgh. When we got married, we had this whole conversation about wanting to buy a house in one of the neighborhoods south of the city. Something with a yard and an actual basement that wasn't flooding constantly like every rental in this area does. Owen told me he was better with money than I was, which honestly wasn't wrong at the time. I was 26 when we got married, and I'd never really thought about savings beyond having a checking account and occasionally throwing $50 into a savings account when I remembered. He showed me spreadsheets. He had this whole system worked out where if we both contributed a percentage of our income and he managed the investments and transferred things around to maximize interest, we could have a down payment in 4 years. 60% of my paycheck. That's what he said we each needed to contribute. He'd transfer his 60% in, I'd transfer mine in, and he'd handle the rest. The account was technically joint, but he set up all the online access and managed everything. Every time I asked to see it, he'd pull up the spreadsheet and show me projections. When I asked to see the actual bank account, he'd get this look on his face like I just told him I didn't trust him, which I guess I shouldn't have, but he'd frame it like I was being controlling or paranoid. Don't you trust me? We're married, Grace. This is our future. Why do you need to micromanage every little thing? So I didn't push it. I just kept transferring the money every 2 weeks like clockwork. 60% of every paycheck for 4 years. I did the math yesterday and I've given him over $180,000. Do you want to know what I did with my remaining 40%? I paid for groceries, I paid for gas, I paid my half of rent and utilities, I bought the cheapest possible clothes from Target when I absolutely needed something. I brought lunch to work every single day, the same rotation of sandwiches and pasta salads because I couldn't afford to eat out. My coworkers would go to lunch at Place down the street every Friday, and I'd make excuses about needing to run errands because I couldn't spend $12 when we were saving for our house. My best friend Stacy got married 2 years ago, and I didn't go because we couldn't afford it. My parents wanted to take us on a family trip to visit my brother in Colorado last year, and I said no, because plane tickets weren't in the budget. I've been driving the same 2015 Nissan Sentra that's needed new brake pads for 6 months because I kept putting it off to save money. When my sister Violet had her baby last spring and everyone went in on this huge gift basket from Bye Bye Baby, I could only contribute $20, and I felt like such a cheap asshole about it. And Owen? Owen was making all the same sacrifices according to him. Always talking about how hard it was, how much he wanted to take me out to nice dinners, but we had to stay focused on the goal. How he wished we could go on vacation, but the house had to come first. Every time I felt frustrated about not being able to do something, he was right there validating it. Talking about how worth it this would all be when we finally had our own place. 3 weeks ago, we found it. The perfect house. It's in Brookline. This Cape Cod style place with 3 bedrooms and an actual yard with mature trees. The kitchen was updated, the basement was finished, there was a garage. It was listed at $340,000, which in this market is honestly reasonable. We went to see it on a Saturday afternoon and I fell in love immediately. Owen seemed excited too. He was talking about which bedroom would be his office, how he'd set up his gaming setup in the basement, whether we should get a fence installed for when we eventually got a dog. We left that showing and I was floating. I was thinking about paint colors and where furniture would go, and finally, after 4 years of living like we were broke college students, we were going to have something to show for it. That was 3 weeks ago. I told Owen we needed to move fast because houses in that neighborhood don't stay on the market long. He agreed. He said he'd call the realtor and start the process. But then he kept putting it off. He'd say he needed to check one more thing with the bank, or he wanted to wait until after his next paycheck cleared to make sure we had the absolute maximum down payment possible. Every time I pushed, he'd have a reason why we needed to wait just a few more days. Finally, this past Saturday, I'd had enough. The house was still available, but it had been on the market for almost 3 weeks at that point, and I knew someone else was going to snatch it up. I told Owen we were calling the realtor that day and putting in an offer, and I wanted to see the bank statements so we could figure out exactly how much we had to work with. He got weird immediately. Started saying he'd handle it, he'd get the statements together, I didn't need to worry about the details. But I was done waiting. I asked him to just log into the account real quick so we could see the balance and start planning. He tried to deflect again, and that's when I actually started getting suspicious. I told him to pull it up right now, or I was calling the bank myself on Monday. He got this look on his face that I've never seen before.